These boxes have been towed down badly.
Welcome, everybody, to EUCF 2022. This is what it's all about. 58 of the continent's top teams battling it out to write their name in the pantheon of Europe's elite. It's been a long season so far, the first full season back since the COVID pandemic, and it's all been building up to this. 3.5 days of the finest ultimate that Europe has to offer. We're going to begin things in the mixed division here. Prague Devils from the Czech Republic up against Lemmington Lemmings of the UK. Benjamin Rees with you in the booth for this one. Delighted to be joined by Hannah Pendlebury. Afternoon, Hannah.
Afternoon, Benjamin. It is indeed a pleasure to be back in Caorle. Not quite inside Venice. But we're here, and it's nice to be back. There's a lot of wildlife around. Of course, this venue is famed for its flying ants and mosquito action later in the stages of the day.
You did warn me, and I was like, well, how bad can it be? Oh, no, it's pretty bad.
Absolutely. We've just had our lunch, and it's attracting lots of moosh, as they're known in different languages, but flies, basically. But hopefully the only flying action we'll see is discs and bids out here in this game between these two teams, which is obviously having a pre-game spirit circle, which is in force here at the European Championship. It's not something you see at every tournament, but of course giving the teams a chance to have a discussion about the styles they like to play, and of course, you know, perhaps talking about contact and things like that, and communication, and introducing, of course, the spirit captains who play those ever so important roles.
Yeah, it's a good way of seeing off any potential problems before they arise, I think is the intended plan. So for the way the mixed works is that there are 2 pools of 6 teams each. The top 2 teams in each pool go straight to semi-finals. The middle 2 teams go to a 5 to 8 bracket, and then the bottom 2 teams into a 9 to 12 bracket. So while theoretically you can afford a slip up in pool play, it's not something you particularly want to have because it makes everything else that much harder. Both of these teams are in Pool XA. Prague Devils, the second seed in that pool. For Lemmings, it's their first time on the European stage. They are the bottom seed in the pool. And it's not the easiest of pools, because also making up this pool are Mosquitoes from Austria, Reading from the UK, Puck from France, and, of course, the reigning champions, and I think the overwhelming favourite this weekend, Krit, as well, from the Netherlands. So if you do maybe have your eye on taking a few names and making your way into that top bracket, you cannot really afford to be losing games like this.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to see, you say Hook coming in, obviously the hot favourites were champions at this very venue, but a few years ago. It's been interesting to see the campaign they had at Worlds. Obviously quite a ruthless matchup against Seattle Mixtape, who went on to win the big show back in Cincinnati. But they're focusing on these 2 teams. Lemmington Lemmings have been having a good, solid building couple of years in the UK scene. A very young team, lots of tall, athletic receivers, especially in their male matching players. But in terms of this Prague side, they have a lot of experience. Of course, many of the faces and names from the Masters Championships back in Poland earlier this year.
Yeah, it's always interesting when you get these battles of it's not a straight youth versus experience, but sometimes, yeah, athleticism is obviously a great advantage to have, but you do also get a little bit of veteran savvy and experience at times.
Well, and Prague do have the legs to match up, to be fair, against the young receivers of Lemmings. They have sort of I'm not sure how many players they have in the middle of the age bracket, but they've certainly got some experience and some enthusiasm, is probably how you put it. But it is very, very warm already out here in Caorle. We're expecting to see some sort of thundery conditions today and tomorrow, but we've been blessed. A rare blessing of blue skies and sunshine. Some clouds for, it's a bit of decoration, but at the moment, conditions are looking pretty good for a game of Ultimate.
We did have a torrential downpour early this morning, which I must admit was, I say early this morning, probably around, late morning that was not massively welcomed and had us a bit worried, but it has mercifully cleared up. And then getting the shuttle bus to Caorle from the airport in Venice yesterday, there were these terrific lightning flashes in the distance that were so atmospheric. As we made our way into the accommodation that you have affectionately termed Italian Butlins.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about Italian Butlins. For those who've never been to the field site here in Caorle, it's I love San Francesco, a village, I think is the sort of what it's called.
Yeah, San Francesco.
So it's a lovely little place with lots of different accommodations, and I believe we're in the deluxe apartments this time. But there's lots of different levels, as you'd expect at a sort of a holiday park. But I'm just not sure there's any cabaret performances. We did see some members of Pelt in 2017 giving us a good show around one of the poles in one of the bars.
That sounds like Pelt, yeah.
Yeah. It's a very, very on brand for them. But at the moment, we're just going to focus on this lovely show that's about to emerge as we kick off this first game of our live stream coverage.
So Prague Devils in the white, Lemmings in the red, and Lemmings beginning on offence with that pool landing out of bounds. Mark Lou is going to bring it in from the brick mark. Look like they're operating. Well, I think they're kind of not sure what they're doing. They've got players out wide, and then they've got two in the centre to work out of. Kapma comes underneath. He'll be a big receiver for this side, the lefty. Here's Edwards on the near sideline. Looking down, wants the reset. A couple of players there, and then trying to squeeze it through. Not enough of a lane. And defended. Daly was the intended target. But Chvojkova got there instead. Kadasek picks up. Now they're going around towards the far sideline for Kadlec. Kadlec putting a bit of air underneath it. He's got a receiver towards the back of the end zone. Karasek can't get there.
Well, he got there. I think it just tipped on his fingers. You saw the begloved hand closing and then just the disc bouncing off of it. So perhaps coming a little bit unstuck under the hot pressure of the defence. But a nice look and a good use of the break side. Lemmings there really struggling to get free of the Devils' defence. So see what they can do on this second opportunity.
Again, it's going to be Mark Lou with the hat, bringing it in. These red jerseys, by the way, for Lemmings, brand new.
Shiny.
They are shiny. Well, not literally shiny, but you can tell they've got that. They look clean and unordered. I'm sure they'll pick up a few dirt and grass stains over the weekend. Katma on the sideline. Is that towed in? Brilliantly done there by Amelia Edwards. What a toe in.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous balletic footwork.
Love a bit of toe drag swag.
But you can see still Lemmings are really struggling to get free as they took the shot deep.
Mark Lou towards the back of the end zone with the layout and the score as well. That time not really getting anything going downfield. So sending the handler through, maybe caught Prague Devils unaware. And a brilliant layout to get the first point of EUCF on the board.
Well, they managed it in the end, having been squeezed so tight by Prague Devils' offensive matchups. It's, lovely to see that big shot going deep, but it was a very, very small margin to have to get that clutch grab from.
It's under ULTI.TV. And see it again on the replay. Mark Lou towards the back of the end zone. Whips it in with that right hand, and then I think quite rightly waves it above his head.
I think our camera lost focus at the glory of that layout score.
It was too much, couldn't be contained within one shot.
So, not the nicest start for Lemmington Lemmings. They obviously had to take the second opportunity at that one. But just settling the nerves here.
Here's a big shot from the Prague Devils offense, looking deep. That's really well reeled in. Fisa with the dish off is going to work for the score. Prague Devils level instantly in the hands of Wojtek Rybka.
Well, that's the second scoring attempt that comes good for Devils, and it's both off of big, long shots to their male receivers. But that's a nice, confident lefty grab just in front of the defender.
Yeah, the deep shot did a lot of the work, but just didn't quite get it into the end zone. And then players flooding forward, and Rybka catches the score. So
we talked a little bit earlier about the slightly more experienced players for Prague Devils, and I think probably for their offensive line, they're going to want to continue scoring with that fluidity and speed for sure, because that's going to favour them as the sun beats down their necks. Of course, so today, Thursday of this bizarrely 4-day format.
3.5.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sort of like three days spread over 4, because it's all wrapped up pretty early on Sunday, so the athletes can get back home. But today you can really afford to just put all of your energy into this first round, because it's just the one game, and you can go home, have maybe a nice ice bath, so maybe some ice cream from the village refreshments, but that's a nice big separation.
Sanders going deep, and he rips it down as well, getting the sideline energised. Going into the end zone, the continuation. Cleaner that time from Lemmings, and Kapma threw the assist for the first point, and this time he gets a goal for his troubles.
Yeah, much better flow there. A good grab. I almost thought that it got a bit too hasty on the scoring pass. I thought that was going to, opening up a window off the disc of Sanders to make the play for the defence, but that's much more confident stuff from Lemmings.
Yeah, we mentioned for Lemmings, they've been building for this for a while, founded in 2006, I think, and slowly but surely building it, and then a sustained push these past couple of years, and paid off, claiming that 4th and final place to Euros at UK Nationals / EUCR West a couple of weeks ago, although actually I don't think any Irish teams attended in the mixed division. And
they did not, and it was it's a curious one with the inclusion of the Irish in UK Nationals, as you say, that sort of combined tournament, because it really changes up the sort of expectations for the schedule, not knowing how many teams are going to appear in each division.
Nice underneath pass there. Now reset. Continuing around towards the near side. Fisa, who went deep in that first point, to Rybka, who caught the score. Splitek back to Rybka. Blading it down the far side, inbound, returning the favour to Fisa.
I tell you what, I love those lefty flick releases from Rybka. Just the pace that he applies to the disc, just that solid flick. Tasty, tasty stuff.
So 2 apiece, the two sides seeming very evenly matched so far, with the exception of the of that first point where both sides turned it over once. Been clean since then.
That's what we like to see, a strong start for these teams. As you say, these pool matches so important, because there are no real redemption crossovers. If you don't finish in the spots to enter the bracket you want, you just got to play it out, which of course is an unusual format in terms of sport. There are lots of disciplines where once you're knocked out of the championship bracket, you just go home, you stop playing.
So unserved so far in this game. Lemmings coming back out on offense, and Mark Lou catching the ball. Takes the initiating pass to Davis, one of the captains. Here's Edwards, and we know what a key part of the offense he has already proved to be downfield. This time Edwards floats that one a little bit. A few players going to try and chase that one down. Wilson tries to slow the sideline. Didn't quite see it, but he's called out and he doesn't disagree.
Yeah, a lot of momentum carrying there. That foot drag would have looked like it was on the line.
So Prague Devils, another chance to potentially get the game's first break here. Here's another deep shot. This might be overdone, I think. Yeah, Kadlec couldn't come up to it.
I have to say, this is turning out to be quite a well-matched game. Both defences are really putting on oodles of pressure. I mean, seeing sort of, not the A game coming out, sort of, high stall passes, trying to hit the break side, maybe a bit too frustrated.
It's always tricky as well, first game of the weekend. I say weekend, long weekend, to maybe hit your full flow. Edwards underneath again. This time finds the continuation to Haynes. Haynes faking, getting it all down this near sideline. Persephone Pantling looking downfield, wiping off a hand. Marklew in the centre. A bit more flow towards this point from Lemmings, and then Marklew zips it into the end zone, where he has a receiver waiting for the score.
Yeah, lovely piece of offense there from Lemmings. Really like the way they opened up that break side with that inside flick, I believe, from Haynes. Actually, no, Pantling, there you are. Lovely shot, and you can see how far away the mark is. Cannot apply any pressure.
And it looks like Wilson in the end was the one who made the catch.
Indeed.
It feels like that's the most joined up we've seen Lemmings offense so far. They're able to keep the disc moving on lower stalls, getting everything a bit quicker and not forcing themselves to have to make those tougher decisions. Prague Devils back on offense. Their offense hasn't turned it over yet.
Well, that'll be that wisdom and experience we talked about, and then playing directly into the favour of Devils. Lemmings choose to put a zone on.
Yeah, try something a little bit different. We mentioned how they haven't really generated any pressure defensively, so why not try something a little bit different, see if that works. East tries to sneak a hand in there, but still Prague Devils flood forward. Splitek, cheeky little hammer over the top, quite vertical the release on that one. Jezek finds a way to squeeze that one in there. Not far outside the end zone now, beyond the attacking brick mark, in the red zone. Splitek, back central. Rybka already. They've got a 2-on-1 in the backfield, and they're trying to go it into the end zone. Rybka's not quite in yet. Will he find an option? Trying to squeeze that one round, but a Lemmings player was there waiting for it.
Yeah, Cubitt there with the heads-up play. Just staying in exactly the right space. Almost like he put on an invisibility cloak.
I think for the first time all game, we've seen the Prague Devils zone on. They just looked a little bit flustered there. And when space became at a premium in the end zone, they couldn't find a way to sneak it in.
Well, I don't know, the receiver was initially open, but then just the defense changed it up. There was a bit too much hesitation, like, oh, I can see that developing. And then it was just the door was closed.
Andrews and East in the backfield, putting this one out into space. There's a little bit of a tip that'll knock it away. Just put that one too far out in front. I believe that's Haveltseva.
That does look like Haveltseva. We're at early stages, not quite got the numbers on our sheets matched up with the numbers on the shirts, but these are these things that happen. Either way, a nice run-through block, really good attacking angle on that disc. Would have liked to see this receiver be perhaps a touch more aggressive to keep that channel open.
So, second time facing up against this Lemmings zone. Can Devils do anything better? And I think Lemmings are trying to transition into going one-on-one here. Certainly they stymied their opponents long enough to try and get it set, but into the end zone, just too far out in front. Saw the glory, but just put a bit too much zip on the pass. It was there to be scored.
It was, and he had a couple of opportunities to make the bid. You can sort of see in that replay there as he sort of has a little look at it on a couple of different angles and then just leaves it a touch too late. But a difficult one to track down, and another opportunity here for Lemmings.
Andrews, also known as Fax on the back of his jersey. A man who I'm not even sure is old enough to recognise what a fax machine looks like, but there we go.
People still do use them though.
Apparently they're very big in Japan. That's not even a joke. Turned over on the far sideline. It's because they all keep paper records.
Oh, well, not very eco-friendly. Oh, huge bid.
Yeah, Fax can't get there that time. but out of position, trying to milk it into the end zone. Rybka can't do so, but he doesn't need to, because he gets the simple pop in, and he is quite visibly pumped about it. That'll be 3-all. That was, the toughest hold for either side so far.
Absolutely. Well, though, I think it's the case of knowing just how important those long points are in terms of momentum building. Of course, Lemmings, having started on offense, are leading the charge here, but they threw away some opportunities in that last point.
Yeah, a couple of opportunities to break. It's the first time they've turned their opposition O-line over, but couldn't make either of them stick on that occasion.
But the first thing is, getting the turn in the first place, just taking a little bit of a nibble out of the offensive line's confidence.
Score check, 3-3.
So it is 3-3 in terms of our score, as we've just updated.
This ball, trying to get that to curve back in bounds. It's got good distance on it. It is going to get that right edge as well.
Oh, a big fan of that.
Mark Lou back pedals to catch. Again, they're looking for Kapma as that initiating cut. He doesn't get it. So will Edwards be the next option? No, instead they're just going to play it in the backfield. Haynes on the near sideline. Got trapped here a couple of times. This time they are able to get that reset off a lot more easily. Davis thinks about going back to Haynes, says the defender poaching in that lane, and so eventually going to take Haynes to try and get that defender out of position. Kapma using the lefty to bang this one down the sideline. Mark Lou's chugging deep again, and that is bang on the money. What a put.
I don't know if you heard, Benji, but I let out a very small O with how nice that backhand was. Just gorgeous. And we had the perfect front row view for it, just arcing over our comms tent here on the sidelines. That was just, after a lot of frustration for Lemmings, just having to play that, just within maybe like 15, 20 yards, sort of squeezed on this near sideline. And that's the beautiful thing about lefties. They can really open up shots that would be so difficult to execute. Certainly like a flick huck on that side, trying to just, in some respects jam it down the jam hole. But it was a very lovely put.
There's something so aesthetically pleasing when a player can really step out on that sideline with the backhand and get that extra reach and got a perfect arc on it. And Mark Lou, again, see him catch the ball, and then also he's gone deep to score twice as well. So proving that he's a threat at both ends of the pitch.
And that's been interesting to see in terms of Lemmings' offense so far in this game. It has been a lot of their female matching players coming and working those unders, and the chaps kind of giving more in the deep space. But of course that one being opened up and generated by the cut coming under.
So more zone here from Lemmings.
A slightly different look, less cuppy, more kind of active on the force there from Liam Liu.
Yeah, for those of you kind of not aware geographically of where Lemmington is, it's in the West Midlands, kind of closest big cities of Warwick, Birmingham.
Not the most glamorous part of the UK, but it's not bad.
Getting a little bit of pace now through this zone, getting that urgency and tempo back. Lovely lead pass. Rybka can't milk it into the end zone, but it's a little bit floaty, the final release, but it still works. Rybka to Fisa again to make it fours.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Sorry, go ahead.
The translation of Rybka is little fish, and there's nothing little about the way he's impacting the game here. Just exactly what the doctor ordered. Grinding. As you see the way he just has the presence of mind to just milk that one, the extra couple of steps. Really lovely watching him work out here. And he's all over the stats board. That's his third assist to add to his 1 goal tally. So 4 stats in total, leading the charge. No one, well, Kapma, Mark Lou and Pfizer are both all kind of, nipping at his heels, but having a great game.
I was going to say, it feels like at the moment those stars for both sides, they're more than happy to let them get frequent touches of the disc, keep them engaged, and if they make mistakes, it doesn't matter. They've got the confidence of their teammates to get it back and make the most of it at future opportunities. Daly catching the ball close to the sideline and centering to Davis. Wilson finds Pantling. Pantling, Katma had to really reach for that one, but made the grab. Fiala trying to be a nuisance on the mark here. Sneaky little up line there from Davis. Davis and Katma cleared out as Davis reset, and the disc goes to the Devils.
Yeah, it's always a difficult one to execute, that high release backhand, sort of over the shoulder of the mark. You're almost throwing it blind, and that one comes a cropper.
Third possession here for the Devils D-line. Can they finally get the break? That's not going to do it. Looking for the throw and go there was Cadlets, but just really airmailed that one.
I have to say there was a really nice deep cut with a lot of separation that was looked off initially by Devils there. And, perhaps becoming a little bit too tentative.
Yeah, their both previous turnovers from their D-line had come from deep shots that they weren't able to look up to, and I wonder if that was playing into the mind that, okay, we'll be slower and chillier with this one. Pantling coming towards the near sideline, represented Great Britain at the Joint Juniors Ultimate Championships out in Poland last month. Pantling wants to float that one towards the end zone, got the right curve, got the right edge on it as well, and leads Edwards in for the score.
That's a lovely sort of higher stall, chuck it in hope there from Persephone Pantling. Like you say, just got the perfect edge on it, and a good heads-up read from Edwards, just able to notice that her teammate had just had to launch it, nothing developing in the near space. But of course, Edwards is, for her young years, just 19 even, current second-year student at Warwick University. She's been playing for 8 years total.
I hate it.
I love it. I love the fact that we have players in the UK that have come through our junior programme. I would like, frankly, to see more of them, Benji. I know we're both quite envious of that, but it's a good kind of envy energy. I'm here for it.
Yeah, and Pantling and Edwards, both players who've represented GB at the junior level, and it means that although this is the first time Lemmings as a club have played on this stage, you've got players with the international tournament experience. So then, even if they're young, they're not going to be overawed by it, and that's why I always think it's always good to get those junior teams in, even if the overall results aren't outstanding, because it's just so important getting players that experience.
Exactly, and that realistically is a lot of what the junior team is for. It's about establishing those foundations and actually giving players that platform to build on, where you then come to a European Championship finals event and it's just another day at the office. If anything, Benji, I think if you're too successful at the junior level, it disincentivises you to continue playing.
And there's going to be a foul call here. I think maybe a little bit of contact between Lou and Rybka.
Indeed, Lou having recently moved to Warwick for a placement, previously based in Southampton, studying at university there. I think he's going to be president or captain of Skunks this season coming, which of course is the name of the Southampton uni team.
Yeah, from much closer to our neck of the woods down on the south coast.
Indeed. Sunny Alverstoke for you.
Ooh, the glamour.
I mean, it's pretty nice. Just don't go too far into Gosport.
I was going to say, just focus on that one tiny part of Gosport and none of the rest of it, and you're fine. It's all right, we've got 2 breweries now.
That's true. It is a good place to go get some pints.
What more could you ask for? This one, Havodsava, down the sideline. Jezek putting some air underneath it. Matsov's going to try and chase it towards the end zone, and she chases it down well. Another well-weighted huck comes out in this game between two sides who, I must admit, seem very, very well matched.
Yeah, again, just that sneaky separation in the backfield. You can see the defender completely loses the footwork, and it's exploited to wondrous effect. That's a lovely pass. I thought for a minute there was going to be an opportunity if it sat for maybe it hung a little bit more, but beautifully weighted.
5 apiece. A game where we've had some really clean holds. We saw one there. We've also had some points that maybe not quite as aesthetically pleasing from either side, but 10 points in, 5 all, no breaks. Offense on top so far.
Well, and that is why we chose this game. We were expecting it to be a close tussle between these two teams who I don't believe have ever met in competition before, which is always good fun to see teams having to work each other out. And I think that both teams' defensive game plans have come in pretty strong. The D of the O-line of Prague Devils is pretty impressive. But it's going to be Lemmings with this in hand to get this one started.
Mark Liu catching the ball. Davis takes the initiative to go for the up line, being marked by the veteran Herring. Wilson on the far sideline now, trying to break down. Mark Liu makes the up line cut, and instead it's reset back to Isaac Davis. Low into Katma. Katma continues to Pantling. Again, you can see her always just wiping her hand on the jersey, maybe just a little bit slick and sweaty.
It is a tiny bit humid here in Caorle, which is what you'd expect for the swampy region we are. Not too far, of course, from Venice itself.
Arkley with the right hand snatches that one away, leading towards the far sideline. Edwards wisely leaves it, and that one, Wilson saw the opportunity, but maybe, you know the phrase discretion is the better part of valour?
Yeah.
Could have been a bit more discreet with it. Is that how it works?
Well, it's an interesting contrast to the lefty backhand that we saw come out of Katma, I think, earlier on in the game. That one that, sorry, excuse me, sort of arced over our commentary pavilion here. That one was just a poor execution of a nice idea.
Just rushed it, I think.
Exactly. Just was like, oh, that's so on, and then just sort of spaffed it. But it's fine, something to work on.
So they have been able to get the disc back when they've turned it over, this Lemmings O-line. Can they continue to make that work? First pass goes underneath to Harubi. Harubi's putting some air underneath it, and no! Oh, wow. Kopshiva. I mean, that should be a catch all day, but just got too casual and nonchalant with it.
Yeah, a bizarre error from Jakub there. No, yeah. He's a beekeeper, but he couldn't keep his palms around that disc.
He's an apiarist. Interesting.
Nice verbiage there.
Thank you. I've got a good story about beekeeping that I'll tell at the pub later.
Oh, I look forward to it. Maybe we'll put that on our TikTok.
Yeah, sure, why not?
But Redemption City for Lemmings after that earlier error. They're going to have to redeem this one.
Well, redemption not just for Lemmings, but for Wilson there. Alert to the overthrow and collected it. Katma down the sideline. He's looking for that lefty backhand again. This time it's Haynes who is the target, but it hung up but just a touch too long. Maybe invited pressure underneath it from Stella Rova, and the disc will go back to Prague Devils.
Yep, not quite the same distance between the receiver and the defenders. 2 of them that time off the shot for Katma. Great effort from Haynes, but just didn't quite have the line. And, of course, the height of the defender behind her, giving that extra bit of advantage too. And a slow walk back into bounds for Prague Devils, giving themselves a little bit of extra rest. Petra Herring.
Yeah, 45 years young. That one, ooh. Haynes was in that space, but Harubi did well to attack the disc and not create contact in doing so, and I think we call this the veteran timeout call.
Yep, Peter Herring just giving more of an opportunity to take a bit of a brief breath.
Yeah, a wealth of international experience behind him. Represented the check Mixed National Side at EUC 2007, 2015 and WGC 2016, and lots of Open and Masters experience as well. And while the two teams take a breather, we'll do the same here in the booth, and we'll be back with you on the other side.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
www.ULTI.TV is the place to be if you want to help us grow Ultimate and make Ultimate huge and allow us to continue bringing free live Ultimate to the masses as we are here at EUCF. Wind picking up a little bit now as Davis checks in. Herring initiates with the dump. Still 5 apiece. You can tell that Prague Devils feel like they've squandered one opportunity too many from the D-line, and they're determined to make this one stick. But Lemmings have taken the opportunity to get a zone set up. I like this. Just, we've only seen the D-line really come out in match defense, but with the time taken from the timeout, it gives them the opportunity to work out who's going where and get this set up properly.
Well, we've not really seen many turns generated by the zone other than the sort of, bit too much flustering in the end zone that happened to Prague team a few points ago. But this does seem to be doing some excellent containment work even, with Devils unable to find much continuation over the top of this cup as that wind, as you say, Benji, starts to pick up, making those overhead shots that were all too easy a few minutes ago look a little bit more risky.
Everything is being played in or close to that Prague Devils end zone, so I think at the very least they've slowed down their opponents, Lemmings, so effectively here.
Well, Herring really acting as an anchor at the back.
You see, the handlers are being very demonstrative with their teammates, showing exactly where they need to go so they can manipulate the spaces in this zone. Finally, they get it through. They've got some room to work with now. Loud calls from the sideline to transition to match defense. Heading to Hruby. Into the backfield, pops up ever so slightly. Not a problem for Stella Rover. Now back to Hruby. He's looking for the big swing around the back. Herring looking frustrated that he's not really liking what he sees. There's a player on the far side who eventually frees herself up. It's Stella Rover again, who, you may remember, got the D initially to get the turn, and finally it is punched into the hands of Mateusz Hruby to give the game its first break, and it's Prague Devils 6, Lemmings 5.
Well, that is huge as we approach the latter stage of the first half of this match. Sneaking that break in finally. The patience on that point from Prague Devils, I think, just shows their sort of depth of experience. They're just at the back. Peter Herring having called the timeout, and used to say those handler set in general just being very stoic and waiting for the opportunity. Eventually finds the far sideline just after the first pass, the swing, the secondary over the top really opened up the space. It's a nice work from Agata, and I'm going to mince this a little bit. Shokova. either way. Very much like that option, taken well. It's good positioning. This is when we need the help from our Czech friends.
The one, so I've been going, I think the CH is like it's like a back of the throat. So it's Chvojkova, I think.
Answers on a postcard. Tell us in our comments.
I am always happy to be corrected, of course. It's the only way you learn.
Indeed.
Not that I've ever been wrong, but theoretically, of course.
You're not always right, you're just never wrong, Benji. That's how it works.
I see you've learned well. I think this might be a timeout here for Lemmings, potentially, because, again, extended stoppage here between the points. Maybe just taking the opportunity to get heads reset, get all on the same page.
Well, you know, as I say, we're coming up very close to the end of this first half. Of course, games hit the standard 15, so half will be at 8.
Will indeed, 90 minutes where the time cap goes. Teams get 2 timeouts to use a half, and if you don't use them, you can't carry them over. So you may as well. Why not get an opportunity to get some water on, get your heads reset. We are using in the mixed division as well the gender ratio rule 1 or A, or it's the ABBA rule as it's effectively known. So after the first point you switch, and then you switch every 2 points after that. So the idea is that you balance out the pitch time for both genders.
And of course, we are also using the gender pulling rule here at the European level, which I'm really proud of the fact that the European Federation decided to institute that rule immediately after it was first introduced. Of course, that being a bit of an experimental one at the world level, only used for the World Games Championships, but teams obviously been able to use that rule between them, agree to do gendered pulling at those events as well.
Yeah, the prescribed puller, whichever is the dominant on pitch in terms of numbers, has to be the gender that pulls. And yeah, it's a welcome change, I think. Pantling zips that one. Sanders gets low to the ground, and now trying to blade it towards Miraus at the back of the end zone, but it's too far out in front.
Yeah, she sort of looked like she gave up on that one a little bit, possibly a bit too early. You know, this is the live stream game. That says where you want to make those hero bids, make a name for yourself.
It looked like Sanders was saying that he wanted the cut to be a bit straighter rather than slightly diagonal, just to give more space to work with.
Oh, it's a difficult one to say you want the cut to have changed midway through. You either throw to it if you like it, or if you don't like it, don't throw to it. She says, a handler.
I'm not sure Prague Devils will mind either way.
Oh, absolutely, categorically not.
Resetting in the backfield. Swinging in their own end zone at the moment, Fiala. Finds an option central. Not getting any continuation downfield as yet. That one's a little bit floaty. Not a problem for Karasek. Karasek pulls the trigger and can't connect with the target downfield. Chvojkova.
Yeah, definitely there was the separation there, but again, that one, as soon as it sort of left the thrower's hand, you knew that wasn't going to be coming off. It's just a bit too low, but I do like the switching from the male matching players of Lemmings. They're doing a great job of just sort of, you know, sagging out in those lanes, applying pressure where they want to, and good communication to make sure there weren't too many off to the races.
Faking the backhand. Davis is going to go up line, gets it in the power position. Sanders has taken off deep from the near side. Not going though, instead Pantling is the underneath option.
Nathan Saunders working tirelessly on that far sideline to get a lot of contact on the back of his legs. Oh, that does look quite grim.
He's up, which is good to see.
Yeah, just that initial shock, I think. Just some big old electric spikes down those nerves.
It's going to be a foul call on that far sideline.
From the... It's an interesting one because they definitely did collide sort of together. Sanders did have to work very hard on that far side, as I was sort of pointing out just before the contact occurred.
Disc is going to stay here with Pantling. And be checked in. Pantling looking for the reset around. Sanders comes through to catch. Swings to Daly. This time, despite the layout, it's off the hands of David Wilson. Prague Devils with another chance here to double their lead. That one, Panling puts a lot of pressure on the under, but Yasmina Tarakiova makes the catch. This time a little bit of a bump in the handler set, but here's the deep put, looking for Hojkova again, and she gets it this time. Not far outside the end zone. Can they punch in? Oh, it's floaty, and it floats over the top of Stelarova, and Miraus, cleaning up at the back, just slaps it dismissively into the turf.
Yeah, Hojkova there again with an excellent deep cut. Daly not really respecting those. That first one was throw execution. That second one was on the money, but unfortunately a bit of end zone eyes.
Haynes on the far sideline. Haynes opening up the arm. Ready and waiting for it was Karasek.
Yeah, we're starting to see some throwing errors creeping in from both sides after they were so clean for so long. These are turning to a little bit of a mess in the later stages of this first half.
Tarakiova to Kadlets. Short. Karasek into the end zone. Going back to Simon Kadlets. And that'll be 7-5 now.
Well, 3 on the bounce for Devils, taking a hold of this game, grabbing it by the scruff of its neck. I do like that final scoring pass. Just a slinky little inside backhand shot to the running receiver. And that's 2 breaks on the bounce for this Prague side.
At least according to the seedings, Prague Devils would be the favourites for this game.
Well, they're also a highly decorated team. I mean, if we just look at Peter Herring alone, he's got 8 consecutive open titles with Prague Devils in its open format.
Not a bad record, I think we have to admit.
And of course, the Grandmasters Club Championship, as we said, back in Poland earlier this year, back in May. Silence, which I believe was also an open outfit, were European champions. And I have to say, not to discredit any of the Prague Devils female matching players, because they have been fantastic, getting run through blocks and going to work. But it has been, in terms of the control of the offense, a bit of a dude show. And no disrespect to that, they are very quality. They're definitely, you can see those strong connections between their open players.
So 7-5 to Devils at the moment. 1 point away from half.
It's no Galaxy point though.
Not yet. There's still time, I believe. Rotating some players through the O-line again. Cubitt this time catching the pull. Ellis. Nice little leading pass there from Liu. Finds Cubitt, putting some air underneath it, over the head of Fax, and into the floor. And I think it might need a replacement disc, because I think Sophie Wong has inadvertently punctured it.
Yeah, absolutely cleated. You can see that go under the foot as she ran past it. Didn't think about making a bid. Sure. Might be a little bit of regret afterwards, but you could see again with the release of that disc, just the body weight sat all the way back, a bit of a loopy-loo.
Yeah, Eurodisc are the EUF's official disc partner, and providing again the tournament discs here for EUCF.
Cubitt makes the most of that opportunity, forcing with his body, not fouling out, but just making sure that Luby couldn't make a second play.
And then that one, oh, hello. Wow. Carmel Ellis with lightning quick reaction, sliding to the floor. The disc was behind, but just speared out a hand and made the catch.
It's the Guitar Hero goal with the knee slide, but you can see the sort of the exhale on her face after she scores this. An error there for Devils, which is of course what gave the short field opportunity for Lemmings after they came unstuck with that big weird release from Cubitt.
And this one, I don't think Cubitt got it quite right either. Just didn't get it far enough out in front, but Ellis with a brilliant reflex reaction catch.
Well, another of these younglings for this youthful Lemmings side, another 19-year-old. Started playing at sixth form in Cambridge for Long Hill.
And represented GB under-20 out at World Juniors in Wrocław, Poland last month, and scored the goal on Universe when they were streamed. So, you know, not a bad highlight to have in your locker.
Well, you know, it all goes onto the reel for applying for big club teams and maybe some pro teams or semi-pro teams in the years to come, who knows. But touts her sporting hero as Molly Wedge of Bristol Women and Manuela Cardenas of course, Colombia's Revolution.
Lou going for that inside-out backhand pull, but he got it a lot outside. No, but didn't come back enough inside.
Oh, yeah, too much outside. I prefer indoors anyway.
And actually, we do have the European Indoor Championships in Denmark, I think, in a couple of months' time.
We certainly do. Those teams now starting to be put together by various nations. But of course, still lots of fun conditions out here in the open. As an easy score there for Prague Devils. But of course, Rivka with the enthusiastic celebration.
Yeah, punching.
Emphatic.
Absolutely, as he punches it in to Eva Fenslova. And that will be an 8-6 half-time lead for Prague Devils. Overall, I think offenses looked a bit better than the defenses, but Prague have just been able to build themselves a little bit of a cushion with a 3-point run shortly before the half.
I don't know, it was a very good start offensively for both sides. Obviously, we didn't get our first break of the game until Prague Devils went up 6-5, but a few points ago. So hopefully we can see those cleaned up. The wind has definitely arrived. It's now sort of, fluttering and gusting around. Nothing too difficult, though. I think it's what we'd refer to as a thrower's wind, Benji.
Yeah, something that both teams will have to adjust to, but I think they probably back themselves to be able to make those adjustments. We're going to take a little bit of a half-time breather as well, but don't go anywhere because the second half of action from EUCF continues on the other side.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Welcome back to Caorle. I didn't get enough roll on the R with that. I'll try that again. Caorle. I still can't do it.
Caorle.
Caorle. There we go.
Caorle.
here in northwest Italy. EUCF, the European Ultimate Championship Finals. The summation of the club season. And we are first game of the weekend here for us. Mixed division action. Prague Devils taking an 8-6 lead on Lemmington Lemmings. And Prague will be receiving to begin the second half. It's Benji Reith back with you in the booth, joined by Hannah Pendlebury.
And it's a pleasure to be back in Italy.
I must admit, I've been to Italy on a fair few occasions. First time I've ever been to this region, and enjoying it greatly so far.
Will you be taking the opportunity, as many of the players will, of extending your stay and spending a little bit of time in Venice itself?
Sadly not.
That's a shame. I can have to say, I do recommend Venice at this particular time of year, just before it becomes flooded, but also after most of the cruise ships and most of the oppressive levels of tourists have disappeared. When we extended our stay here a while ago, we actually stumbled across the Venice biennial as well, so a bit of culture for you. And an easy run through D.
Yeah, thrown straight into the arms of the defender Will Peach. So an opportunity for an early break in the second half for Lemmings would be their first of the game. That one low, sliding, retaining it on landing there is Howard. Howard low again. Peach couldn't get there.
Well, I think the defensive block was there from Pfizer.
So that one sneaks through the clutches. Going to get another turnover here, right on the end zone line, Lemmings. Will never get a better opportunity for a break, you feel.
Yeah, Hushlever coming unstuck.
Keep it recess. Peach around to Howard. Looking for the punch into the end zone, no. Just going to take a little bit of a second. And continue to move it through the backfield. Calls from the sideline to run the pattern. All those hours on the training pitch. Put those into practice here. Peach again. Everything's looking a little bit congested. You can see those handler marks, they're sagging off a little bit to try and stop that downfield movement. Seems to be working. This one going to try and get the blade around, but that's never going to come back in bounds.
So you said, Benji, that you're not going to get much of an easier opportunity in terms of scoring setup from a dead disc, which arguably, definitely, I would say it's probably the case here. I'm not really a big fan of that end zone set from Lemmings. The dump handler far too far forward, allowing that sagging, poaching, and too much sort of juking around in the near side space, giving the defense the opportunity. You just got to just run really, really hard.
I must admit, it didn't really work for me either.
Was it good for you? No, honey, it wasn't.
Now Devils getting the disc moving a bit quickly. They've got the pass into the end zone. Oh, it might have got a little bit of a tip on the mark, but it doesn't matter because it's reeled in anyway.
Wojtek Rybka there is 100% my player of the game. I mean, things could happen in the second half, but even when he's not directly involved with the score, watch out for his emphatic celebrations afterwards. That's a lovely around break. Just putting it into the perfect pocket, sinking it into Havelkova. But yeah, the celebration of Rybka, he's just a one-man hype unit.
It feels like he's the sort of player who would have experienced the finest Italian espresso before a game, just to get the adrenaline really going through the games, get that buzz on.
Well, we are pretty much fueled by espresso here. I believe the Italians who run the little coffee stall have been over the years a bit concerned as to how much caffeine Ultimate players consume at these events, especially our hard-working ULTI.TV crew.
Although I must say, I am not one of them. I do not partake in tea or coffee, which I appreciate is pretty much sacrilege.
Do you have a cheeky Red Bull every now and then? Other energy drinks, of course, are available.
I must admit, I tend not to go for out-and-out energy drinks because they do not agree with me.
That will be the lack of tea and coffee. Your system's not used to the high levels of caffeination. Maybe just a sugar tablet then.
I'll just mainline some Lucozade, that'll do it. Again, other glucose-based refuelants are certainly available. Here's Katma looking for the big. We've seen him open it up a couple of times in the first half. This time puts it back in the locker. Daly fakes off Wilson, but Wilson comes through into the backfield. He's wide open, and he's going to launch this one. It's quite low and flat, and Marklew again loves going deep from the handler set, and he puts that one out into space for Edwards for the score.
That was a worryingly low dish, but just managed to slice through all the defenders downfield. So perfect placement in terms of direction, if for height.
You say worryingly low?
Well, yeah, look, that's at like head height for a bunch of potential defenders. If they'd have been, you know, half a metre closer, put the arm up, swipe that one out.
You can go as high as you want when there's a nice clear lane. It's fine. It's always open if you throw it hard enough.
Well, Benji, the ground is open, that's for sure.
I don't know what you're on about. I mean, the ground is always open. That is a good point. 9-7, first time we saw the Lemmings O-line in the second half, and yeah, nice clean hold for them, especially given the pressure they generated on the Devils O-line coming out of the break. Encouraging signs, I think, there.
Well, I presume, Benji, we're probably going to see, knowing, of course, that these games are so important, I think we might see a bit of a closer, shorter lines from Lemmings. We've seen a lot of their stars coming out on offense when they get turned, playing some excellent D. So we might see some people coming across, playing a bit of double duty, because again, we only have the one game today on this day of this 4-strong event.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see how you manage your roster. You don't want to burn players out too early. As the Rybka floats one up, is this going to be chased down? Two receivers in the area. And it's Havodsevar again. Jezek looking for Rybka. Oh, this will float, but Rybka climbs the ladder and pumps it into the ground for a 10-7 lead.
It's just a delight to watch. It's quite demoralising to play against all of that enthusiasm, and it was a bit of a slightly vicious spike. But
I just wish I loved anything as much as he seems to love playing Frisbee.
That's true. Find a partner who loves you as much as Wojtek Rybka enjoys and loves playing Frisbee.
By the way, if my partner is listening, I didn't mean that.
But that's a lovely goal. Although slightly controversial, the sort of diaper look with the shorts there, tucking them inside the underwear. Do you think that's an advantage, a key perhaps to his performance out here on the field?
I must admit, aesthetically, it's not for me.
Do you think it's maybe a distraction technique so that the person marking
you're just distracted by powerful thighs?
Well, the powerful thighs, and then the slight. Maybe it's like a bit of a disorienting effect. You know, the ripple in the sort of the undercarriage of the shorts.
I think he just finds it more comfortable, to be honest.
Probably.
Here's Daly. Everything looking very congested in that handler set for Devils, and again, Wilson finds himself without a force, but this time he doesn't like the deep option. Little blade to Sanders on that far sideline. Katma towing the line. Pump fake against Prague Devils zone, which I think is all that clustering as players just come to figure out what they should be doing. Davis back to Wilson. Now here's Katma. Looking for options. Getting the reset off to Isaac Davis. Squeezing the blade down the sideline. Plenty of time there for David Wilson, and he knew it as well. Good communication.
It'd be nice to see them move it more laterally now. They are getting a bit stuck on this near. Clearly they did something to keep Benji awake.
I was pressing the mute button, it was fine. Sanders to Wilson, really jammed that one in there. I think temporarily just had a glance at that hammer to the far side, thought better of it, and Katma rushed it into Edwards.
Throws directly into the floor, does not pass go, does not collect £200 or a frisbee point.
That one's off the hands of Ruby. Given right back. One rushed turn deserves another.
It's sort of been the story of the sort of midsection of this game so far, has been errors creeping into the performances of both sides.
Here's Daly with those exceptionally jazzy boots. In the red zone now are Lemmings. Happy to go backwards, lose a little bit of field position just to keep the disc moving. Wilson with two hands. Haynes is going to the end zone. Doesn't like that look though. Centre of the field opens up for Daly. Daly in the end zone and again rushed it a bit, I think, and it floats out of the side. It's just knowing that sometimes you can take that extra beat.
Oh, that's watched back through a double replay of the error.
F's in
from
chat.
Katma. Absolutely F's in the chat.
Here's the shot down the sideline from Herring. Sanders trying to motor past him, but that is a superb box there by Matosh Ruby. Gets a nice slap of the hands afterwards as well. And another break for Prague Devils now. 11-5 they lead.
Yeah, Sanders will be disappointed with that. He was absolutely undone by the body positioning there from Ruby. And, you know, a bit of a height advantage as well.
Yeah, I think Sanders he backed himself to close the gap, and he had the speed to get there, but just an exceptional box there.
Yeah, good catch. There was a moment where he could have taken more sort of an angle around the left, the inside channel. Well thought about, I think, to avoid the contact there. Because, of course, stepping into the running line of the receiver, that's the point where he could have perhaps gone the other way rather than sort of not really leaving himself any opportunity over that back right shoulder. So Prague extend their lead. The Devils now 11-7. The favourite at the moment with those 3 breaks.
Yeah, 4 points ahead, needing another 4 to take the win. Certainly a very favourable position.
And an hour of play expired as well. So it's been a relatively steadily paced game with a couple of long, grindy points.
Wong. Ooh, a little bit behind Lou, who adjusts well. Oh. Miraus on the far sideline. Oh. A foul on the mark, potentially.
Well, it's going to be almost immediately accepted. Nice placement of the hand, but a bit too much cocked. But she's got Miraus's number, that's for sure.
Apparently we've got rain on the way, which will be another little challenge for these sides. Or Wong is suspiciously open.
We do love that phrase. Curious, there should be someone wearing white within the vicinity of you.
Players do get open, yes, but it had the stench of a pick about it, didn't it? And indeed, that is what has occurred. Defender will catch up somewhat, not fully able to close that gap. Or brings it back in. Again, looking to be aggressive, take on the break, and finds Ellis. Ellis into Hall in the centre. Breaking around for Andrews. Andrews continuation, and again, Lemmings. I just think they're rushing things in the end zone, essentially.
Yeah, a moment's pause. Literally just a little think about it first and then execute. That's the thing. I think at the moment it's the Lemmings are just running off fumes. They're just going, yes, this, and it's not really, just need that little bit of mental composure. Just, you know, microsecond. Have a little ponder. But of course, this is their first European campaign.
Yeah, even if they don't win many games, they've still done brilliantly to get here. Oh, wow. That is a pretty terrible bid, to be honest.
Ill-advised. Very pleased to see the Devils player getting immediately back up the field. Big smile, nice bounce. Ben Andrews.
I think just looking at the disc and didn't have enough awareness of what was going on around him, and yeah, really took out Taraki over there. Another pick.
Of course, in any team sport, it's really essential to keep that awareness and mindfulness of the other players around you on the field.
So Lemmings, you can tell they're hunting for the short field turn here. Now they're not going to get it because that one is put deep. Miraus trying to close the gap. Batso makes it, and then this one went for the blade, but it bladed far too early. You could see it flutter in the wind and falls harmlessly to the turf.
Yeah, another case of just being a little bit too hasty here. Both teams sort of quite keen to finish this one out. On that long disc, sort of a little bit from Miraus trying to sort of come in a little bit earlier. Didn't quite get the read.
Wong on the sideline. Tries to jam it in there and just about finds Andrews.
Kadlec was so close to getting the run through D, and that has been the case for a lot of these passes going to Lemmings. The Devils' hands just trying to sneak one out of the cookie jar so often, especially on the male matchups.
Popping that one up for Miraus, but over her reach. Matzo makes amends, and the timeout called.
Yeah, Kadlec there, just giving a brief moment to recompose for Prague Devils. Of course, you know, their eyes down the barrel, looking at taking out Lemmings in these pool stages.
Yeah, Kadlec's involved in the coaching of this side. Represented the Czech Republic at international level out in London. 2016, the World Ultimate and Guts Championships. 2019 in Jer.
I was going to say, he also got Jerd, as did some of us.
And Prague Devils, of course, as well as being representing in Europe, have represented worldwide, and they made the Open Division for the World Ultimate Club Championships back in 2014, here in Italy, actually, in Lecco.
Indeed.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
Welcome back to EUCF 2022 here in Caorle, Italy. I again didn't get the R right there. This is all I'm going to be doing this evening is practicing Caorle.
It's a little bit of too much dry mouth. You need more moisture for the roll of the R. But there's many different kinds of R, as people will tell you.
Mixed division action. Prague Devils up 11-7 on Lemmington Lemmings. Looking to break here to make it 12-7. And that one just too casual in the dump and threw it past the arm of Stelarova, who reached out but couldn't get it. Just smacked it round the corner. Let off there for Lemmings. Ellis looking downfield. I think there's a pick as everyone flooded into that stack. Ellis looking for the IO over the arms of the first receiver. Excellent backup there from Ali Orr. And punched in to Sophie Wong. I did mention earlier that there was a rather heavy downpour a few hours before we started here. So, yeah, essentially the ground, you know, will churn up a little bit. Yeah, or if you go to a football game, you see the groundsman come on at half-time with a pitchfork and just poke some bits. I'm not sure what that does, but everyone seems to do it, so... or at least look like they're doing pitch maintenance. (11-8), Prague Devils lead, just over 20 minutes until the time cap comes on at 90 minutes, at which point if we haven't reached 15, finish the point, add 1 to the highest score, and that becomes the new score cap. Yeah, it's a genuine airfield. There's a helipad just over behind us as well. Yeah, it's a very atmospheric hangar behind us. So Prague Devils back on offense, but not for long. Overthrowing Fisa, going towards that far sideline. Is there a sting in the tail, perhaps? Lemmings still yet to break in this game. What a time it would be for the first, as Simmons fakes the JC on the mark and going into the end zone and finding it as well. Maybe got away with that one as well, but it was brilliantly backed up, just waiting for it. And that is the first break of the game for Lemmings.
Well, only time will tell if it is too little too late, or if that's going to be the spark that ignites the break train for Lemmings. We know they need quite a few. A little bit of a delicate tambourine celebration there from Jessie Lou. The swagger off what was probably just, you know, being in the right place at the right time type score.
Hey, there's a lot to be said for that.
I throw no shade on it.
I think there's always value in those players who don't necessarily see, and this is not to categorise Jessie Lou as lazy, quote unquote, but you know, there's players where you don't necessarily notice their impact, but you look back on the game and it's like they scored so many goals or so many just those short assists, and there is a real art form into making yourself available in those tight spaces when you get into the red zone. That is a pull that is going to just about land out the back of the end zone.
Could have been dreamy though.
Nearly perfect.
Proper Callahan County if that had landed in bounds. But instead, the gift of a brick.
So with the lead reduced to just 2. Can Prague Devils create a little bit more of a gap again? Novak into the backfield. Rybka goes to ground in order to keep it alive. Manipulating Sanders on the mark. Running a 1-2 there with Novak. Everything looking quite static downfield. So working through the handler set. Sanders gets a hand on it and it flutters right back into Rybka's grasp. Now here's Novak.
Can we say catch your D's?
Rybka's not happy with what he's seeing downfield. The split set comes through from the handler set. Looking to lead Rybka out into space again. A little bit of a milk there. We've seen that he is prone to it. Again, moving Sanders around and then into the front of the end zone for Splitek. 12-9.
Yeah, Lemmings trying to play smarter, not harder there with their sagging off, the sort of, flashing into the lanes on defense, but calm, cool and collected are Prague Devils. They know they just have to sit and just ride this one out on their O-line's possessions.
I think on the mark there, Sanders, he's just lunging a little bit, maybe committing to stopping that break side throw, whereas actually, if you're on the balls with your feet a bit more, you've got a bit more foot movement, shuffle across. Yes, you can maybe A, stop the first throw from going, but B, put yourself in a better position to, even if you can't block the second throw, put a tiny bit more pressure on it.
Well, I believe it does help if your player doesn't get beat open side of the end zone.
I mean, obviously that doesn't, that makes it easier, but if that will happen at times, so you've got to do all you can to make it as hard as possible when those opportunities come for them to complete the throw. It does feel like there's a bit of rain on the way, doesn't it? You can tell that the temperature's dropped a couple of degrees. There is a lot of grey cloud overhead.
Yeah, very ominous and looming coming from sort of the left side of our pitch to the right. You can't see because of the contrast with these lovely green fields, but it may well be coming for the second game slot here on these live stream fields.
Marklew reaches out in the backfield and brings it in. Ooh, wanted to throw and go. Didn't get enough rotation on it, but it was still kept alive. Kapma. Edwards. Squares up to try and get it off the line and finds Kapma. Cheeky little inside there into Haynes. Rolls and picks herself up. Here's Daly. Daly opens the arm. Got the tool receiver Kapma in the end zone. Can he climb the ladder? No. But a foul is called underneath the disc. Contact maybe between Kapma and Hruby.
See, I'm not sure that's something that developed in Kapma's downfield cut. He sort of looked like he was hanging around a little bit when the disc came from Daly. A fiery put. You see there, he's sort of jogging because he knows it's going to sit and hang, trying to box himself underneath it. Perhaps a little bit too much of a touch on the back there. But way to keep your heads up and still have a go at it.
So the two players will talk this out.
And looks to be an accepted foul.
So he'll be checked in and brought to the front of the end zone. And they're going to set up vertically, trying to isolate Edwards at the front perhaps. Jinking and jiving and just getting the defender, getting that weight set and burning back to the open side for the score is Edwards.
Well, looking on our little monitor here, I'm not sure how much jinking and jiving was required. That just looked like a set and turn, which is sort of what you wanted to see. There was an earlier possession on the end zone line for Lemmings in the first half, but there was a lot of dashing backwards and forwards. So getting another look at that replay of the little bit too much heavy contact from Atosh Hruby. But Kapma, of course, has been tied for first in terms of the most useful player for the stats board for Lemmings, matching up with Alex Marklew.
And I think there was just a slight stutter in that cut for Edwards, and that was all it needed to get the defender's hips turned slightly, get the momentum stopped, and then continuing to the open side. Again,
one good plant back with the momentum, but still moving forward.
Yeah, just 2 points the lead at the moment.
But of course, the difference between those is those 2 breaks that Lemmings gave up in that first half to Prague Devils.
Yeah, they got another one in the second half, did Prague, but Lemmings able to earn that one back. Zone again here. from the Brits. Splitek to Rybka. Back to Splitek. Two of them just happy, just bouncing it between one another in the backfield at the moment. Now they're moving it with a little bit more urgency and pace. That one finding it through to Splitek. Continuation to Haveltsova. Will they transition this close to the end zone? Well, if they did, it didn't matter because a simple flip in for the goal. Haveltsova on the receiving end.
Yeah, it's difficult to get a really good look at the zone that Lemmings are applying, but I think that looked sort of like maybe an arrowhead or an FSU style. Obviously those sort of three at the front marking the handlers, and there's such a close opportunity there for the bid to get the block, but generally it looked a little bit like Prague Devils just were able to walk it through that zone relatively patiently and calmly. Maybe the sort of, behind the wall defenders could have been a touch more active in terms of sort of, recognising where their threats were. Also, I don't know if it's really probably going to pick up on our camera streams, but Devils have absolutely covered themselves in temporary tattoos. We've got them on necks, we've got them on cheeks, we've got them all over.
I see a lot of teams do this now. I was going to say, and I imagine they're temporary. You do see some frisbee tattoos every now and again out in the wild.
Oh yeah, but very rarely on people's faces and necks. Because that's the I'd like to not work in professional services, please.
Yeah, at first I thought it was just eye black, but no, as you mentioned, good spot. They are indeed temporary tattoos, and you can see actually the dark grey cloud overhead there in the shot.
Yeah, a bit more permanent war paint. But I know the Lemmings logo, I think that would look pretty good as a tattoo as well.
You going to get one?
As a temporary tattoo, absolutely. Especially if it comes applied with beer or saliva.
Seems in keeping for you.
Well, it's all about the championship finals parties for some of us.
I mean, you are fun employed now, I guess. Got to make the most of it.
Well, and some of the young players of this Lemmings side, of course, are athletic and enthusiastic enough to play many of the party tournaments in the UK and international scene. So I believe they're fond of a boogie and a good temporary tattoo.
Yeah, saw some of them out in Glasgow a couple of weeks ago as that one from Katma is thrown into the floor.
They're having a couple of execution errors on his low release lefty flicks.
Kadasek picks up. Resetting back to Kadlets. And too far out for Lukasz Kadasek. A bit of a freebie, that one for Lemmings.
Absolutely, and that would have put Devils within one of the win here. As we have the last couple minutes of regulation time. Of course, these games are 90 minutes long.
Markley. All floated this one. Comfortably picked off there by Kopcheva. And another timeout called here for Lemmings by Ben Andrews. Not by Lemmings, for Devils by Szymon Kadlec. Completely looked at the wrong roster for a second. Clearly, I've got brain drain of some sort.
It's all right. Your left and your right side of your brains are clearly, playing each other's roles.
Of my brains, but of my multiple brains.
Your multiple brains. Well, you could say brains. It depends if you're talking about the individual cells as a collective or the whole thing as an organ.
Sure, we'll go with that. Either way, good opportunity for me to get my head reset and put my teeth back in, and we'll see you on the other side.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
We are a group of Ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund
our work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
ULTI.TV to find out more about what we do. Patreon.com/ULTI.TV as well if you want to become a member and help us bring a free live Ultimate to the people, which of course you do. Why wouldn't you?
Because what else are you going to spend your money on? Avocados or a house?
Wise up, millennials.
It's a good thing if what do you get the Ultimate player that has everything? A Patreon subscription. Listen up, mummy and daddy.
Looking for the blade towards the end zone. Catmull was ready and waiting for it. It feels like, sure you can draw up a set play off a timeout, but that wasn't there.
No, just throwing directly into traffic. But Catmull was overdue a bit of redemption. He played very well at the beginning of the game, had a bit of a soft section in the middle. But those sorts of plays is what gets young athletes fired back up.
Curse of the turnout strikes again. That one, Handling laid out for it, but it was so tricky because it was coming down really knifey.
And she was trying for the layout clap catch as well. Always a difficult one to execute for sure. Want to just be more powerful and punch the disc with both hands.
Especially when it's coming down with that degree of verticality.
Oh yes.
Kadasek. Looking for the front of the end zone. Bid comes in but doesn't get there. And then the casual pop in for the goal from Stellarova. 1 point away from victory now, Prague Devils.
Well, on paper, we expected the Czech side to best this first appearance for Lemmings here in the mixed division. But it's been quite the performance so far. Of course, those 2 unanswered breaks, the 3 on the bounce in the first half. Some errors creeping in for both sides, and of course 1 break back for Lemmings in the second. But at the moment, if I were a betting woman, I think I'd put a couple of bob on Devils to close this one out. She says, very ready for a bit of commentator's curse, of course.
Yes, obviously we would like to point out that A, please gamble responsibly. B, we do not make any bets on any of the games and the outcomes here. I actually think that there's something in the rules about us doing so because we might be privy to extra information and stuff like that. So we do not, but yes, I do take your point.
I say, if we were.
If.
We aren't, but if we were.
If we were commentators of ill repute.
Which of course we are not.
No.
Short pull though, and a gift given to Lemmings. Let's see what they can do with it, Benji.
Ball will pick it up just inside Lemmings' half. And immediately striking deep is Ellis, and the put is bang on the money. What a score. 1 pass ultimate. When you can do it like that, why bother faffing it around with dumping and swinging?
Well, taking advantage, full advantage of the short pull. Wind is trailing on your screens from right to left. That one was an upwinder, but a lovely shot in good body position for the goal for Ellis.
So, Hooter to be coming on very shortly, but we know that regardless, game to 15.
Indeed, it will stay at that full point total. As Lemmings swagger off the pitch now. Can they go on an unanswered break of 4 points. Can they roll Prague Devils to a wafer-thin sliver on the pavement?
Based on the way the game has gone, it looks unlikely. They've only got the 1 break in this entire game, but one of the best things about Ultimate is that you have to put in that last point to win.
Absolutely. Well, there is, as we said, a roller that gets brought out to make these fields nice and flat for the planes that land on them and take off from them very frequently. But of course, it's all about flying discs, not flying machines here.
Yeah, and the 2 teams ready for the next game on this streaming pitch. You can see going through their warm-ups. Bristol from the UK up against East Block from the Czech Republic.
So going back-to-back Czechia action.
We are, yeah, actually. UK versus Czech Republic, 2 on the bounce. And the Czechs looking to take round 1 here. Rybka. Ooh, that one looked like it stuck in his hand a little bit there. Trying to shrug it off, get himself set. Got to play some defense now. Lou picks up. Sanders goes back to Lou. Faking with the backhand to the force side. And eventually does find Sanders, who goes to the ground. Pumps the fake. Lou continues to haul. Hall zipping one into East. Big receiver downfield off, and this time he's coming short. Finds Peach, who has been freed himself up via a pick.
Looks like he's got a little bit of a limp, his Peach.
Yeah, maybe he hasn't played as often this game or as much this game as some of his other Lemmings teammates have.
But East is going to need a reset fairly soon.
Lou comes into the backfield, spins once, twice, eventually gets it. A round break to Peach. Dishing it off to Sanders. Sanders and Rybka have matched up against each other a lot this game. And that time, he gets Rybka to take a huge monster munch out of that one on the force, but then throws it away out of the sideline. And Rybka celebrates like he's won the World Cup.
He's almost like a man possessed. I really love watching the matchup between him and Saunders, though. That is a enjoyable one. Both of them happy to take a little bit of bumping on the mark. But it's a big shot for Devils. Is it going to close it out now?
Trying to box out, and East, I think, suckered Fiesler into going too far underneath it. And there is a call made, I think. East is walking away, but he's been encouraged to go back and actually have the discussion by his teammates as well. They should.
Maybe a bit of a hot-headed reaction there from the 18-year-old chef. Another of these Evo players coming out of Aylesford School.
And they are going to say that the turnover stands.
Of course, communication such a crucial part of this game. So we saw another look at that turnover from Lemmings earlier. And Sanders being confused by the gyrating mark of Rybka.
Sanders looking expansive with a blade over the top. East on the far sideline into the centre.
Rybka getting a bit hungry there. Lou calls the foul immediately.
You can tell that you can tell what it means to both sides out there. Lemmings do not see this game as dead yet.
It's difficult without a field mark, but I think I heard on the pitch there just a comment about the tone of voice in the discussions in these chats. Oh, and the missed catch from Sanders.
Yeah, sliding low. It would be tricky to take a throw that asked a lot of him, but I think you could see that he was frustrated that he couldn't bring it in.
Well, he did touch it with both hands. It's always a glum position to be in when you don't come up with it.
Novak. Novak back to Rybka. Finds it through to Splitek. Fakes it towards the far sideline. There's a pick. Get those arms out.
Gun show.
Which way to the beach, etc.
These swans are sick. Call a veterinarian.
The what?
I'm
not having that one. I'm sorry, mate.
I think you'll find it's legit. Checks out. These swans are sick, you know.
I know. I see what you're saying. I just don't like it. Splitek to Novak and throws it back to Sanders. And Sanders, I think, is trying to channel his opponent there.
He's been caught on fire by Wojciech Filipka.
Oh, this one pops up and it is straight back to Devils. And actually, I must admit, I'd have liked to see Splitek catch that one and get it going quickly. This one low, rescued, no.
It's just becoming turnover city here now.
Yeah. I think Lou's asking whether they want to take the time out here. Ooh, no, just takes a bit of time, but he does pick it up, and there's a foul in the stack downfield.
I think just a stamp on the foot of Tyler East from Pfizer. Who lists himself as one of the most lazy people on the team. Does
I assume he means
Pfizer.
Off the pitch rather than on it.
Well, I don't know. There's definitely been a lot more sort of poaching off and sagging off from Lemmings than there have from Devils, but they've played their own a little bit, you know, just stand around defence, just get in the way.
Don't knock it till you've tried it, I guess.
I'm a big fan of the stand around defence. Just appear out of the undergrowth almost.
Lou resets to Sanders. Sanders to Hall. I did ask Nathan Sanders, by the way, how he pronounced his name. He said it was Sanders, but he also didn't really care, which is fair enough, because I've pronounced it, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 different ways this game. Cool thread. Finds Peach. Peach back to Sanders. Sanders with the hammer to the far side. East is in plenty of space. Sanders wants it back over the top, but East that time just decides not to, wants to be a bit more circumspect with it.
Yeah,
and I agree, as East looks at his hands like they betrayed him. We've all seen it.
Player not playing in their regular position. Sanders with a bit of reckless abandonment, trying to make it happen in front of the disc. Not sure what that chat's all about.
I think the discussion is, do Prague Devils have any more timeouts?
That is a good question. The scorekeepers, of course, on the sidelines, able to advise. And they don't have one, so it's up +2 to the stall count.
Violation, I think. Not everyone was in the right place, but yes, as you mentioned, it's not a turnover if you use a timeout that you don't have. You just add 2 to the stall and then get back in play. So if you were on stall 8, for example, then it would be a turnover because it would be a stall out, but otherwise add 2 and you keep going. This one's floated out into space. Fafisa. Again, they're trying to play it slow in the backfield. Rybka watches it all the way in. Past the bit of East. Can they take advantage while he's on the floor? No, he gets back into position. See that gold chain bouncing around his neck.
Oh, you got to go for it, and it was lovely and clean.
There's a call on the far side. Is that thunder I can hear in the distance?
That is indeed the rumble of thunder.
Well, I don't like that.
No, we are not fans of that. There is
oh,
a
and that was
lovely,
definitely a flash of lightning as well.
there is a nice airplane hangar for us all to retreat to. An injury off the back of the foul on the far side. I thought for a minute the players were actually doing the lightning signal, which we might have fairly soon, since we have seen some crackles in the far distance.
I think actually it's East who must have shaken himself up on that bid. He's replaced by Isaac Davis. And, oh, it's actually going to be a double injury. I think, because Miraus is also coming off, I think, to be replaced by Amelia Edwards.
It'd be rather confusing, does have the word Mills on her back.
Short for Amelia. But yes, I agree. Give me just plain old surnames on back. Thank you very much. But I must say that I do find the jerseys pretty legible, so I'll give him that.
It's the inconsistency that gets you.
Yes, 100%.
But nice big numbers, we like it.
Finally brought back in. Rybka finds Novak, who sells Lou all the way down the river in the backfield. Now they're bouncing it back and forth. Rybka just shy at the end zone to Matzo. Into the end zone for the score, sliding on the knees and making the grab is Jakub Ježek, and in a game that threatened to maybe have a sting in the tail, Prague Devils eventually saw it out with a 15-11 victory.
Yeah, a little bit of a squeaking it in at the last moment there, but it's the right attack, the right pass to go for, and a nice finish for Prague Devils.
Very nearly got finied on the sideline, but not quite. We're going to wrap this up quickly because the next game starts in about a minute's time. So, for all of us here at ULTI.TV, final score here at EUCF, Prague Devils 15, Lemmington Lemmings 11. We'll see you on the other side.
ULTI.TV.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to Love Machine.